Michael Leinweber of Digital Marketing Solutions was the ex-head of digital marketing for Schroders. Michael, can you give us a little bit of background of your work within the digital marketing space over the past 15 years?
Well, thanks a lot for having us. It's great to be here at this event, seeing it grow and having it be what it is. So thank you very much for the opportunity to talk.
Welcome.
It's been a very exciting 15 plus years in the technology space. I've spent my career helping clients, companies, consulting organizations effectively grow the business, provide scalable solutions through a mix of people, process, and technology. The last 10 years, I've been head of digital marketing at Schroders, and the focus there has really been on enabling the distribution organization to grow the assets, grow the clients, and improve the business through CRM, web, e-marketing, digital, and collaboration, and basically tying together all of the different technological tools, changing the way the business works, and putting that into play at an asset manager, not one of the places that's known to be the most technologically advanced, so that's changing to bring us to the forefront of technology, enabling sales, marketing, client service, risk, product, all the different groups to share a unified view of the client information across the enterprise.
So that means that you have actually seen the evolution and now are in the heart of the digital revolution. Given that, what trends are you seeing? What trends do you expect?
Well, of course, there's been enormous changes over the last few years. We've seen the network revolution. We've seen the database revolution. Now we're in the middle of the social revolution. So we've gone through the CRM wars. So we've seen so many changes. I think right now what I see, and it's hard to look too many years in advance, I'll leave that to some of the other visionaries.
Right.
But as I look for the next several years, the biggest changes that I see in asset management, in my opinion, are around social media and the impact of social on the millennials as they come onto the market scene. I mean, the market growth is projected to be enormous. So I see a massive effort around social media. Right now in asset management, social media is minimally used, barely understood, and there's a huge amount of nervousness. That code has got to be cracked, and I see that going crazy when that happens. The next major thing that I see happening, and it relates a lot to social media, I think, is data and analytics. There's massive amounts of data in the asset management space, more coming on all the time. In fact, yesterday I heard an amazing quote from the chairman of Salesforce.com that 90% of the world's data has been created in the last 2 years. Stunning number. I think it's probably true because there are like 5,000 people listening to him, and he's probably got fact checkers. Anyway, the point is that there's a huge amount of data there, and never before has asset management come together and said, we need insight. We need better information about our clients and our prospects to do things like better target leads, better market and message, that elusive one-to-one marketing message and communication. And then the mobility aspect of this is not even touched yet. We don't even know what's going to happen with iPads and Surfaces and wireless and Wi-Fi and phones and convergence. So those are sort of 2 or 3 major areas that I'm dying to see how this plays out.
So we keep hearing about the need for IT teams and marketing teams to work together. What's your take on this? How close do they need to be? How integrated are they?
I see it continuing to blend as technology becomes an ever more critical part of distribution and marketing and product. The IT organizations are going to have to step up and expand. Traditional IT organizations are very infrastructure based.
Yes.
I think you see that a lot. I think you see a lot of asset managers bringing in technology groups within the business. So you've got IT over here kind of on an island of infrastructure, firewalls, servers, LANs, WANs, critical stuff. Got to be there, security, firewalls, VPNs, infrastructure. And then you've got the business with CRM, data and analytics, and they use some of the IT organization's resources, but IT doesn't understand what they're doing. And as more projects happen here, the whole infrastructure is going to have to better support the business requirement, and only IT can really help do that. Simple as all the inbound calls to the help desk come into IT. And people call about CRM, and if IT is not involved in the CRM conversation, they kind of go, I don't know. So that makes the CRM people look bad to their customers because you don't want to be pointing fingers. So the IT organizations have got to step up and get more business experience. And I think that this is kind of a known thing, that a lot of IT organizations are challenged in their knowledge of the business. They need to grow the knowledge of the business. The business needs to make them do it and help them do it because they can't do it on their own. And then the organizations like sales and marketing that use technology will have better partners to deal with. even if the business still maintains technologists to do things, they'll be more effective because the IT organization can better support them so they can start further down the road.
Given your experience, I have a question for you. What used to be the ideal CV for someone in digital marketing, and what is going to be the ideal CV or the background for someone to head up a digital marketing team?
I think that historically the role has been more technological oriented, and they've been many of them have been a CRM implementation hand and a database architect, and they've been much more technologically focused, which is still very important because they need to have a deep-seated understanding of the technology. But what you're morphing toward, what you're changing towards, is an ever more closer understanding of the distribution and senior management's goals for the business growth. They need to understand the business drivers better to better be able to choose which technologies are put into place and to better be able to define the integrations, not necessarily do them and architect them. As many of the earlier digital heads, they were very, very technical. I myself was very technical, but I've spent many years completely understanding the distribution model and the mindset of the intermediary distribution heads, who ultimately, at the end of the day, their job is to grow assets.
Right.
And the more you understand what they want, the more credible you're going to be for them, and the more effective you're going to be at defining what their solutions are. And this kind of plays back to what you just talked about with IT. So I'd like to rely a little more on IT to provide more of the technological support so that I can focus on the architecture and the business problem solutions.
So Michael, for most investment management companies, it always comes down to the one big debate of build versus buy. What's your take on it? What advice would you give to people?
I think that everybody in the industry faces this all the time, and I kind of laugh because we've been talking about this for a long time, the build versus buy thing. So my opinion is that organizations should, where you have a business defining thing that you do, that it has technology base, you should build that yourself. And that's very narrow, like a trading platform. You know, we all hear about those super deep programmers trying to shave millisecond off trade execution. So where there is a business defining differentiator that you need that has to do with technology, you should build that yourself because you want to control and own that.
Right.
Where it's something that adds value to your business. I would say that out of 100 things you might do, that's 2 of them. Right? And the other 98% of things that get done, in my opinion, should be a best-in-breed solution that you put together from existing products out in the marketplace. And again, this is a cliche, but asset managers are not applications development shops. They're not. They're asset managers. Their core competency is asset management, product management, et cetera. Again, potentially some small amount of deep code in there for trade execution, maybe some quant guys coming up with super clever models for things, but in general, the CRM, the data and analytics, the client servicing, the client reporting applications, marketing content automation, websites, those things are best done with a strong internal staff that manages partners. Now, I definitely never want to just throw stuff over at a partner and have them do all the work, because then you're stuck when they're done. So you want to have your own people closely involved, but you should be looking at best-of-breed vendor solutions that tie all of these things together, but in a way that you can own and manage it. Vendors are getting better at it. They're better at talking to each other. So they're not islands of solutions anymore. They're being pressed to integrate. So your risk in a vendor solution is a lot lower. And I think that asset management has really embraced the cloud. You go back 5 years, and they were still a lot more nervous about the cloud. 5 years forward, almost all of them are on Salesforce. Many of their other applications are software as a service. And they've become more comfortable with it, making it easier, I think, to put a best-of-breed vendor solution together. So buy as much as you can. It's going to be way cheaper. You're going to get a much better solution to market faster that has more people able to support it and build what you must build and try to minimize that.
For competitive advantage.
For competitive advantage.
Excellent, Michael. Do you have any final thoughts?
Well, again, thanks for coming. I think it's an amazing time. I think the opportunity for people in this digital technology space to impact the growth of the business has never been bigger.
Yes.
To be able to help grow these assets into the trillions over the next few years and to expand asset management's capability and to support the millennials on social, data, analytics, and CRM is a very exciting thing. And I would encourage anybody who's watching this to think about that and talk to the technologists and the business people and think about, how do I tie technology and business together to support this scalable business growth that everybody's looking for? Do that and you will have a great time.
Thank you so much, Michael. Thank you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.